You are slow. You are weak. Your fingernails couldn't tear the skin off an apple, and your teeth couldn't break the hide of almost any animal you might want to eat. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor, no venom, no fur to survive a cold night. Drop you naked onto the open grassland of Africa, alone, and almost anything with teeth could end you before the sun goes down. So how did this animal, this soft, slow, hairless thing, end up ruling every continent on Earth? For most of the story, your ancestors were not the hunters. They were the hunted. There is a moment deep in the past that most people never picture. A small group of your ancestors, standing at the edge of a plain, watching lions eat first, then hyenas, then vultures. And only when everything dangerous had wandered off did your ancestors creep in to crack open the bones nobody else wanted, for the marrow inside. That was the meal. Scraps. Leftovers. The bottom of the food chain. And yet here you are. Reading this on a glowing rectangle, in a heated room, on a planet with 8 billion of your kind, spread across deserts, mountains, ice sheets, and cities, lit up so bright they can be seen from space. So what changed? Here is the first thing to understand. There was no single moment, no lightning bolt of genius, no one invention that flipped the switch. Your dominance was not a spark, it was a stack. A slow pile of small advantages, each one useless on its own, that together became unstoppable. Start with fire, not the fire itself. What fire did to your food. Raw meat is tough. Raw roots are hard and full of things your gut struggles to break down. Chewing them takes hours, and digesting them costs an enormous amount of energy. But cooked food is different. Heat does part of the digestion before the food ever reaches your mouth. It softens. It unlocks calories. It kills the things that would make you sick. The biologist Richard Wrangham built an entire theory around this, and he called cooking the thing that made us human. His argument is simple. When your ancestors started cooking, they suddenly got far more energy out of far less food, in far less time. And that freed something up. Look at other apes. A gorilla spends most of its waking life chewing. Its body carries a huge gut to ferment all that raw plant matter. Guts like that are metabolically expensive. They burn a lot of fuel just to exist. Two researchers, Leslie Aiello and Peter Wheeler, noticed a trade-off hiding in the numbers. They called it the expensive tissue hypothesis. The idea is this. Your brain and your gut are both hungry organs. They both drink calories. And there is only so much energy to go around. So as your ancestors' guts shrank because cooked food no longer needed, all that processing the energy could be spent somewhere else instead. It went to the brain. Your brain is about 2% of your body weight. It burns roughly a fifth of your energy. It is a ferociously expensive organ, and for a long time nobody could afford one this big. Cooking helped pay the bill. But a big brain sitting still is just an expensive lump. You also needed a body that could go get food. And this is where your ancestors did something strange. They stood up. They lost their fur. They grew millions of sweat glands across bare skin until they became one of the best long-distance cooling machines in the entire animal kingdom. Two scientists, Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman, studied this in detail. They pointed out that the human body is built almost absurdly, for one thing, running long and slow without overheating. Springy tendons in your legs, a wide, stable rear. A ligament in your neck that keeps your head steady as you jog. None of it makes you fast. A deer would leave you in the dust in seconds. But the deer overheats. You don't. And so your ancestors invented a way of hunting no lion could copy. It's called persistence hunting. You don't outrun the animal, you outlast it. You pick a target and you follow it, walking and jogging hour after hour in the heat of the day, never letting it rest. The animal sprints and stops to cool down. You arrive, it sprints again, you arrive again, until finally its body simply cannot shed the heat anymore, and it collapses, and you walk up and finish a hunt that took half a day and a pair of legs and a stubborn, patient brain. Fast animals win the sprint, your ancestors won the marathon. So now you have a big brain and a body that can chase. Is that enough to rule a planet? No, not even close. Because plenty of animals are smart, plenty are patient. What your ancestors had was something rarer, and it lived not inside one skull, but in the space between skulls. Think about what your brain is actually good at. It is obsessed with other people. Who is watching you? Who is angry with you? Who owes you a favor? Who can be trusted? Most of your daily thinking is not about hunting or surviving at all. It is about the invisible web of relationships around you. That obsession was your true weapon. The psychologist Michael Tomasello spent his career comparing human children to young apes, and he found something striking. On raw problem-solving memory, space, numbers, toddlers, and apes score surprisingly close. But on one thing, human children leave every other animal far behind. It's learning from others, copying, teaching, sharing what you know. Tomasello called it the ratchet effect. A ratchet is a gear that turns one way and locks, so it never slips back. Human culture works the same way. One person figures out how to make a better spear point. Instead of dying with them, that knowledge is copied by the whole group and locked in, and the next generation starts from there and adds one more improvement, and the next, and the next. No single human is smart enough to invent a spear, a needle, a boat, a bow, a fishhook, a fire drill, and 100 survival tricks from scratch. You don't have to be. You inherit them. You stand on 10,000 generations of trial and error, and you add your own small piece to the pile. That is the real superpower, not a smarter individual, a smarter chain. But to pass knowledge down a chain, you need something to carry it. You need symbols. You need the ability to look at a scratch on a rock or a sound in the air and agree that it means something. Go to Blombos Cave on the southern coast of South Africa. Inside, the archaeologist Christopher Henshilwood found pieces of red ochre, deliberately carved with a crisscross pattern made by human hands roughly 75,000 years ago. He found shell beads, pierced and strung, worn as jewelry. Think about what a bead really is. It is useless. You can't eat it. It can't cut anything. It means something only because everyone agrees it does. A bead is a symbol. And a mind that can wear a symbol is a mind that can hold an idea outside its own head and hand that idea to someone else. This is the thread that ties it all together. And the historian Yuval Noah Harari made the argument famous. What lets millions of strangers cooperate is not instinct and not force. It is shared stories. A tribe can hold together on friendship and memory, but only up to a point, maybe a few dozen, maybe 150 faces you actually know. Your ancestors blew past that ceiling. They learned to bind huge numbers of strangers together with things that exist only in the shared imagination. A god, a nation, a law, a name for the tribe. Money, which is just a story about value that we all agree to believe. None of those things are real the way a rock is real. And that is exactly the point. A rock is real, and it holds nothing together. A shared story is imaginary, and it can move armies, build cities, and organize 1 million strangers to work toward the same goal. That is a kind of power no other animal has ever touched. And your ancestors were not alone when they gained it. The planet held other humans. The Neanderthals, strong and clever, who had survived Europe's ice for hundreds of thousands of years. Other cousins, too, scattered across Asia. They are all gone now. Everyone. The geneticist Svante Pääbo did something once thought impossible. He pulled DNA out of Neanderthal bones and read their genome, and the result rewrote the story. It turned out they didn't simply vanish. Your ancestors met them, lived beside them, and had children with them. If your roots trace outside Africa, you are carrying a small piece of Neanderthal DNA in your body right now, a whisper of a vanished cousin who lost the world while your line kept it. So step back and picture the whole thing. None of it was a plan. No one in that cave chose to conquer the earth. Your ancestors were just trying to survive one more day, one more winter, one more hungry season, cooking to eat more, walking to hunt more, talking to trust more, remembering to teach more. Each piece solved a small problem right in front of them, and the pieces stacked generation on generation until the stack was tall enough to reach every corner of the world. You did not win because you were the strongest. The Neanderthal was stronger. You did not win because you were the fastest. Almost everything was faster. You won because you could pool your minds. Because a scratch on a rock could carry an idea across 1,000 years. Because you could believe in the same invisible story as a stranger, and stand beside them, and build. Now look around the room you're in. You didn't make almost any of it. Not the glass, not the wiring, not the language in your head, not the numbers you count with. Every object near you is a message from thousands of people you will never meet, most of them long dead, each one adding a single line to a story that started with cracked bones on an African plain. You are slow. You are weak. Alone in the wild, you would still last about a day. But you were never meant to be alone. That was never the point. The animal that rules this planet was never the strongest or the fastest one standing there. It was the one that learned to stand together.